Popping in like popcorn. There we go. What's up, everybody? Real quick, go ahead and state your name, where you're calling from, real quick. Let's see who we got on the call and get some energy going here.
Good evening, Mr. Bean. It's Abby Tobe, Orlando, Florida.
And Ayala, Dominican Republic.
Brooklyn, New York, Kyrie Jana.
John LaFleur,
Andy, Houston, Texas.
Baltimore, Maryland.
Recording in progress.
April, Washington, D.C.
There you go. Don't stop. Keep on going.
Danny Keller, Texas.
Tony Sykes, Houston, Texas.
Ruben, Riverside, California.
There you go. Welcome, welcome. Who else we have?
From Jacksonville, Florida.
Houston, Texas.
Welcome, welcome. All right, all right. Who else do we have? Who else do we have?
You got Kerry Banks from Houston, Texas.
All right, all right. Welcome, welcome. Houston in the house.
Frank from Norman, Oklahoma.
Mr. Locker, welcome. Norman, Oklahoma. Who was that again from Norman?
Frank.
Frank, what's going on, Frank? How you liking that water filtration system?
I love it, man. Love it.
That's what I'm talking about. Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Who else do we got, guys?
Leroy from St. Louis.
All right, Leroy.
It's
welcome.
Brad in Illinois.
Brad, welcome.
By Darlene, Maryland.
Hey, hey, Darlene, welcome.
Ignacio
Roberto from Rancho Cucamonga.
Iggy, welcome. Rancho Cucamonga is nobody but Roberto and Veronica in the building. Welcome.
Yes, sir.
Leslie Johnson, South Carolina.
Leslie Jackson. Leslie Johnson, welcome to the call.
William, West California.
All right there, William. Fabian, what's going on?
Derek, Houston, Texas.
Timothy from Chicago.
Jarek in the building from Houston. Chicago, I can't hear you.
Timothy from Chicago.
Chicago, I can't. Give me the name without Chicago. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome to
This is Timothy. hey, bro, I got to get you to call me Timothy, though, man. Come on.
Hey, look, Timothy, look, you beat my Packers, man. You beat my Packers Sunday, bro. I can't respect the Chicago thing, so I gotta give you some kind of grief. You know what I mean?
I hear you, bro. It's all good.
All right.
Kadisha Kevin from Tampa.
Hey, Kadisha, welcome.
Landon Taylor, Houston, Texas.
Mr. Taylor, welcome to the call.
Laura Johnson, Furman, South Carolina.
Ms. Johnson, welcome to the call.
Chris McHenry, California.
Mr. McHenry, welcome to the call.
Angel Trent, Houston, Texas.
Hey, Ms. Trent, welcome to the call. All right, Mr. Ed Ayala earlier, Juggernaut on the call. Welcome to the call.
Puerto Rico. Maryland.
Puerto Rico and Maryland in the house. I got two at the same time. Okay.
Coffee Brown Worldwide.
Coffee Brown Worldwide. Okay. All right. I'll do that.
New York.
Tom from Alabama.
They named it twice.
Welcome to the call. That's what I'm talking about.
Shannon down in Tampa.
Hey, Shannon. Welcome to the call.
Thank you.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, take a moment real quick here. We're going to go and get the show on the road in just a second. Make your last minute text messages. Go ahead and send out your last minute phone calls. Like I said, if you have people who are considering this company as a viable option to do business with, if they've already seen the presentation, they've already been exposed, they should be here, on this call tonight, because again, they're going to be hearing from the CEO and they get a chance to see another side of the company that may answer some questions for them and for you. So as we take one last round of introductions, we'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll go ahead and get this show on the road.
Darren Jones from San Francisco, California.
Hey, Mr. Johnson, welcome to the call. I see one of the owners and partners on the phone, on the line, Mr. J.C. Rangel. Welcome to the call. Who else do we have?
Bob from Riverside, California, now in Katy, Texas.
Hey, Bob, welcome to Texas. Welcome home.
Alejandro Amigo from Puerto Rico.
Orlando, welcome to the call.
Thank you.
Johnny Montes, Hawaiian Gardens, California.
Johnny Montes, welcome to the call.
Carlton Campbell, Queens, New York.
Yeah, I like this kind of action when you don't know who talking and who's saying what. You like that. That's nothing but good stuff. And I did hear Bobby Trezick is online. Welcome, Bobby. Glad to see you here. Let's see here.
Julio Aquino, Tampa, Florida.
Julio, the one and only, Señor Aquino. Bienvenido.
Captain Jewel, Houston, Texas.
Gracias, Mr. Bean. Gracias.
De nada, señor. Kathy, up to the call.
Roxy from Alta
Houston,
Segundo.
Texas.
Roxy, the
Louisiana.
wall breaker, money maker. Roxy is in the building.
Carlton Campbell, Queens, New York.
Hey, Carlton, welcome to the call. All right, and let me make sure we got our esteemed guest and colleague on here real quick here. 1 second here. All right, guys, and we do. And ladies and gentlemen, some of you, I've given you the power to bring people in this chat, if you will. Let's go ahead and help us out here so we can keep the show going and keep the flow going. And what I want to do right now is, before we introduce, our esteemed guest for the night, I definitely want to make sure that each and every last one of you, like I said, you're in a good, quiet spot. You actually have some good questions that you may want to ask the CEO if we have time, because this may turn into an AMA at some point if we have time left and remaining. But definitely want to make sure, again, that you take the moment while this is going on to send out your last minute text messages for your team members. Make sure that they are here. And again, any prospects that you have that are taking a really good solid look at the company, we want to make sure that they are on here as well. Okay. And so right now, guys, without this platform, again, a lot of us will still be searching for our thing. And, I do want to give my customary shout outs and gratitude, to the CEO himself, Mr. Wences Navarro, President, Mr. J.C. Rangel, and the other partners and investors, the Pachecos, for creating this opportunity for us. Again, this is an ideal situation for a lot of people, and a lot of us have figured it out already, and the rest of the world is waiting to be introduced to it. Okay. Also have some esteemed colleagues of our part of the leadership panel, Mr. Ed Ayala, Mr. Julio Aquino. Again, just guys out here building it big, dominating, making some things happen. And then you have the Director of Operations for Rain H2O, Mrs. Kim Bean, as well as her partner in crime, Mr. Ovi, the one and only Ovi Kanovi. And so, guys, again, with that being said, I want to make sure that each and every last one of you have something to write with. And I want to make sure we go ahead and invite our CEO to the line. And there he is. He's popped up looking dapper as always. That's what I was talking about. And so, Mr. Navarro, I got word that we have several people who are actually on here looking at the company for the first time, and they haven't had a chance to get to meet you or know anything about you. Before we start this thing off, can you tell them a little bit about your background and, if you will, why you started BYLD Network?
Yeah, for sure. Well, let me start off by saying this. This wasn't even on my radar about a year and a half ago, right? So, I think it was in due time, right? Things are gonna happen when they're supposed to happen, not when you plan them out. And I've learned that throughout my career. So I'm a network marketer by trade. So I started in direct sales, network marketing, MLM, whatever you want to call it, when I was 18 years old, right about to turn 19. And I was still in college at the time. Didn't finish college because I have success in network marketing, right? I said, you know what, like this is, you can't beat it, right? When network marketing goes good, Mr. Pacheco always says you can't compare it to anything, right? When it goes bad, you can't compare it to anything either. But I had a really good first experience, and from there, I was very lucky, I guess you could say, that it was ignorance on fire my first time around. So I had a good experience, made some money, and I tried some different things, just traditional business after that. And I just didn't have the same amount of success financially, right? So eventually, this is in 2002. So in 2007, after trying a few other things, I ended up back in sales, in direct sales. And second time around, did really well again. So I started like everyone else. I started from the bottom as a distributor, and just worked my way all the way up, through the ranks in different companies, and I learned along the way what to do and what not to do. And one of those times, I had the pleasure of working like a dual role on in the field and also like in the semi quasi corporate, right? So I got to see both sides, and people started asking me to consult for their companies, and they like my ideas, I guess the ideas and kind of the way I do things. So for the last 8 years, almost 10 now, I spent consulting for other companies. And, a lot of those companies went on to have a lot of success. And when Mr. JC and I started talking about this, like I said, it wasn't in the radar. And I definitely wasn't in the radar to be the CEO of the company. But everything happens for a reason. And I always wanted to, how we always say, when we make it, we're going to pay it forward, right?
Right.
When the opportunity came up, I said, wait, if I decline it, or if I say no to the position, did I really mean it when I said it? Right. Because now I have the opportunity to pay it forward. And so I said, you know what, let's do it. I saw the opportunity. I saw the industry. I saw everything that's going on around us. In our everyday life, we see it, right? The world is changing right in front of us. And I've been involved in this industry for so long that I'm like, dude, it's about time I do something. It's either now. I told, JC a long time ago, I said, when we're in our early 40s, we're going to start our own companies and we're going to have to collaborate and help each other out, right? We're going to be the next wave of CEOs and, C-suite executives. So we're going to have to help each other out. So the opportunity presented itself, and, the timing was right. The industry was right. And here we are, a year into it.
There you go. And man, kicking the door in, as might I add. And it's one of the things that caught my eye. I got excited about the fact that a person can really allow a real leader to come into a company and do what they've always had goals to do, which is retire a lot of people. The fact that a person can come in and make a 6 or 7 figure income without recruiting is ridiculous. That's fantastic, and people can come in and set whatever goals that they actually have that they want to set and actually achieve them here. But speaking of goals, when it comes to the company, what are the company's short-term and long-term goals, and how do you plan on achieving them?
Yeah. So let me say one thing before we get to the questions.
Okay.
I saw the questions, Sam, right? But I don't like to be scripted. So I read through them just for compliance purposes, but I like the answers just to flow, right? Like
Gotcha.
if I'm lying, you're gonna know I'm lying. So I saw the questions, I read through them really quick. I didn't think about the answers because I don't like to do that. I don't like to be scripted. So
Awesome.
just let out there because I did read the questions, right? Just for compliance purposes, but go ahead. Throw them at me. I'm not ready for them, but go ahead.
Yeah. So guys, just for the record, he's an actor. He's just not a paid. He's not an actor, but he's paid. Let me say that. So here we go. So we're gonna come right off the rip. And again, just when it comes to the company, short-term, long-term goals. What are we looking at when it comes to short-term and long-term goals for the company?
So short term, right? We're a direct sales company, right? First and foremost. Now, short term, I want to make it as easy as possible for everybody that's joining our mission right now to build a big organization, right? So the goal is to provide the infrastructure for everybody to go out and build their own business inside of our business, right? So to provide the infrastructure, if you've been here since day one, which you have, Sam, and a lot of the people on this call have been here for since day one, you've seen the company grow in terms of like our just technology infrastructure, right? Year one is always about that, building the foundation, finding the right people to come along for the ride. And I think we've done that successfully. So now year two, so I think in the next 12 to 24 months, the goal is to make it big for everybody to build a big team, a big organization, a big company within a company, whatever you want to call it, right? So, because here's what I've been saying, and you've heard me say this before, a lot of you have. I believe that in the next 12 to 24 months, our world is going to change dramatically, right? It's already changing right in front of our eyes, like right now, right? But it feels gradual, but it's not. It's actually I just went to 2 places today, 2 places where I wasn't allowed to pay with cash, right? If I said 5 years ago, if we said, hey, you're not gonna be allowed to pay in cash, like they're literally gonna not take your cash, you know, some of us would have said you're crazy. That's not gonna happen anytime soon, right? So the world is changing. So right now, the goal is to provide all the tools and the infrastructure, right? And the products, the right services and products, so we can go out and every single one of us that's on this call have a big team. Because if you build it, the opportunities are going to come for us. For the distribution is always necessary in any industry, any product, service, any company needs distribution. So, and we'll touch a little bit more on that in the future, but
no problem.
the goal is to build a big, dominant, worldwide distribution network.
Awesome. So now, you know, when it says how do you envision the company evolving over the next, 2 to 5 years? You know, we know what the goal is. You know, how do you see the company evolving over the next 2 to 5 years?
Yeah. So like I said, we're going to evolve with the changes that come, right? With our industry, it's actually a pretty straightforward business, right? We're in the word of mouth marketing business. That's what we do, right? However, you know, I've never been one to just stick to one way of doing things, right? So I like to try different things. And I've gotten phone calls from a lot of you saying, hey, can we try this? Hey, can we try that? And I always say yes, right? Try it. As long as it's legal, moral, and compliant, right? And ethical, I say try it, right? Hey, can we try online marketing? Try it. Hey, can we run this funnel? Try it, right? So we're always going to be open and looking at different things. I know the question's probably going to come up, so I'll just say it now. Everyone's talking about AI, right? AI means a lot of different things. And then yesterday, I finally figured out how to kind of explain it to people. And I said, look, just pretend like you're sitting at home in your living room in front of a robot. And the robot is smart enough to learn anything and do anything. So AI, you can't just say AI because AI means a lot of different things to a lot of different industries and a lot of different people. So this robot is sitting in front of you. What do you want it to do? Tell it what you want it to learn and tell it what you want it to do, right? So we're looking at it from the entrepreneur point of view. We're looking at it to enhance our prospecting. We're looking at it to enhance our systems and follow-up systems and, you know, all of that, the drip system, right? The fortunes in the follow-up. So a lot of times, including myself, we don't follow up. So we're looking at AI to do all of those things for us, right? From prospecting. I personally don't believe that a bot is going to close me yet, right? Like I'm not going to make a purchase from a bot, not yet, or maybe not on the things we sell right now, right? I don't think a bot is going to take me from beginning to end on a solar deal, for example. Maybe the day will come, I don't know, but not yet. But we are going to use AI in all of those things, right? That fit our business model.
Right. No, and you know, one day it might have to come because, you know, how, when technology takes over, they just say we won't hire anybody to answer the phone. We'll just let the AI do it, and then they'll have to work with them. But when you look at this, the thing that I'm excited about, because we all, like you said, we've been in the industry for a long time, and we both understand this, that network marketing, direct sales, ticket sales, all of this is bigger outside of the U.S. What countries do you see us going into this year?
Oh, good question. So we have 2 products, 2 services that we are about to introduce in the next few months, right? And both of those products allow us to expand outside of the US. So immediately, can't go everywhere, right? Some countries require some licensing, some registration, but some countries are a little bit easier, right? So Canada, Mexico, I've requested for those products to be registered in Latin America and a few countries in Latin America, Peru being one of them, Colombia, Costa Rica, in Asia, Southeast Asia, a few countries, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Philippines, in the European Union, obviously, right? A lot of us have a lot of contacts there. And Africa, a few countries in Africa as well, right? So in every continent, right? But we're gonna start out with a few countries in every continent, and then expand from there. And when I say expand, I mean like it could be every month where we add a few.
Yeah, that's something I'm extremely excited about. One, I like to do business abroad, but 2, I like to travel, and so have people will travel. All right. And so one of the things we wanted to talk about, and I know this is kind of like your baby, the smart money concept. And so, what was your intent when you first got started with smart money concept, and what do you see it being now?
Yeah, so you know how we hear this all the time. We go, oh man, they didn't teach us this in high school. They should have taught us this in high school, and they should have taught us this in college. They should have had college classes teaching us how to manage our credit and how to buy a house and all that stuff. Which is true, right? I do think that that should be taught, but it's not, right?
Right.
But nowadays, no one has any excuse. Like you should not know how to manage your credit, right? Like you can go YouTube a bunch of stuff. So all the stuff that we're teaching inside of the Smart Money Club, let's call it financial literacy 101, right? How to manage your credit, there's things like life insurance, understanding what type of life insurance you need for different situations, estate planning, tax planning. Tax planning is going to be a big topic of conversation for the next decade, right? Things like that. So understanding something as simple as your 401k, right? So having a background in financial services, I've heard all those questions, right? Like I've seen the clients, I've talked to the clients and the families that have a 401k and have no clue where the money's allocated, right? Or how it works. They have no clue how it works. Right? So in network marketing, direct sales in our world, I've seen a lot of my friends and just colleagues that make money, but they don't have this financial 101 stuff down. So they end up starting all over again, right? So it feels like it's never going to go away. Like the money's always going to keep coming in, but it's never like that. And then they find themselves in a situation where they got to start over because they didn't put any money away. They didn't put the money to work. They didn't do any tax planning. And I'm talking about myself. I did it first time around, right? Like who even thinks about, hey, let me put 30% away so I can pay Uncle Sam, right? You think about that later when you already spent it all. So
Right.
money was something that I was gonna do aside, like separate from the company. I was gonna do a membership club, get all the experts in my Rolodex, and then just give everybody access to them for a $40 a month, $49 a month fee. I felt that was it was worth it, right? So when we put the company together, I said, wait, solar, home security, they provide their high ticket items, but they don't have a residual income attached to them. So that's when JC and I said, okay, well, what if we put this high ticket sales concept, and then we say, hey, those same people know people that need this, the financial literacy, right? So that same homeowner that you sold solar to, now he saved $200, $300 a month on his solar, or $100. Guess what? It might be worth it for him to learn what to do with that newfound money. Instead of going and buying a bigger TV, what if he put that money towards his retirement, right? So that's where it kind of started. And we said, well, guess what? The entrepreneurs themselves, they're going to make money. They're going to need to do, everybody needs to know what to do with their money, right? At least the basic foundational stuff.
Right.
So it fits right in. You go talk to a homeowner and they didn't qualify for the solar loan. Guess because they didn't have credit. Guess what? Send them to Smart Money. You talk to the homeowner, you save them $200. And you say, hey, Mr. Homeowner, hey, you know what? Instead of buying that new big screen TV, right? Go and here, let me introduce you to this membership club, right? And then the same person that made the sale just made a $7,000 commission. Guess what? They also need to learn. So everybody we come across needs to learn that. Now, the second part of Smart Money that we haven't really talked about too much, financial literacy 101 is cool, right? So now you have your life insurance, now you have your estate planning in place, you have your tax plan, you have your 401k, your Roth IRA, whatever it is that you have. Now you go, well, why do I continue paying this membership? Part 2 of the Smart Money is where we're going to talk about all of the new things that are coming, right? So I have some really smart people that are working on creating the let's call it the financial literacy, but 2.0, like the new age stuff, the blockchain. What should we be looking at, right? So the Smart Money newsletter that talks about all of the alternative investments and the things that you should be looking at right now. that's going to be really cool because people are going to really, really benefit from, even if it's just us exposing you to it, and then you go and you Google it, and then you find an expert in the field. We exposed you to it, right? A lot of times, exposure is everything.
Yeah.
I know for me, being around entrepreneurs all the time, has always, like, I knew about Bitcoin, for example, before most people, like 2014, late 13, early 14, where most people didn't hear about it until 2017, right? So those are the things that in the smart money part two, that's where it gets exciting, where people go, well, I already took care of all of my foundational stuff. Yeah, well, now you stick around because now we're going to show you what's coming next.
It's crazy. Oh, go ahead.
Here's the thing, Sam. We're going to be in 20 years, right? I'm going to be lucky. I'm going to be sitting with my grandkids. And the last thing I want is for them to say, hey, Grandpa, what were you doing in 2025 when, a very crypto friendly, very blockchain friendly administration was coming into power. And in 2025, the regulation was loosening up and the institutions were all investing in blockchain and BlackRock was investing in. What were you doing in 2025? Right. And I don't want to be the one to say, well, I was selling home security and I was selling solar. Right. Nothing wrong with solar. Right. But I don't want to say that's the only thing I was doing.
Right.
I would say, you know what, this is what I was doing. I was building an organization, selling solar, and then I was taking my money and I happened to learn about this new blockchain. I invested in it. And now, that's what made me a lot of money.
It's crazy. I was doing the numbers on the calculator, and a person who puts $1,000 away for the next 20 years, it's going to equate to somewhere right around about $982,000 at 12% annual return. $2,000 a month, right at around 1.91 million. 1.91 million with $2,000 a month over the next 20 years with a 12% return. And when I look at where we're at right now, you have people who they always want to talk to the expert who's the richest guy in the room or the richest gal in the room and get their advice. And when you have a compilation of people who made millions of dollars, not just with you, JC, myself, the Pachecos, and all of the, the other people who we are bringing into the Smart Money program, but they're getting that advice for pennies on a dollar, and they won't utilize it. But you'll pay $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 for financial advice from an expert, and they're not going to give you a fraction of what they're going to get from the smart money concept. So that's crazy. But what I do like about this situation is when you talked about the smart money concept, and we've had our conversations where light bulb goes off, boom. I'm about to sell a lot of insurance policies. I'm about to sell a lot of insurance products, whatever. And then you thought about it. You thought about it again. So you know what? I want to make sure that other people can come in here who have the same background as I do, and they can do the deals instead of me. Talk a little bit more about that, because you have people who don't want to bring people to the company based on a fear loss of their own client base.
Yeah, so I come from the financial services. I'm still part owner of a company. And in the beginning, this was the original plan, was for me to just bring my Rolodex, my experts, and say, hey, for $50 a month, you get access to talk to everybody and ask them questions, right? That was the original idea. Then I started to notice that, hey, we're attracting a lot of real estate agents, mortgage loan officers, and insurance financial services agents, right? And then I started thinking, well, it's not fair for them to expose their clients or potential clients to smart money if the smart money is going to take them as a client, right? So I said, this is not about me. This is bigger than me, right? So I do want people to have the knowledge of the concepts and the services, but that's kind of why it took a little bit longer and it's still a work in progress, smart money, because it kind of is like halfway through, I realized it's not fair, because some of you are going to recruit an insurance agent, right? Because a lot of them, right? So we're going to come across, we already have a lot of insurance agents in the network, and I don't want them to feel like, hey, Wences and his company are going to take them. So we're not doing that, right? As much as I'd like to, it's not fair, right? We're here, build a big organization, and I don't want to pick up pennies, and no, what is it? Pick up pennies, step over dollars.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So I said, let's change it up. Let's not put a face to the smart money. So there doesn't need to be any face, right? The information can be delivered without a face. So now all of the content in the smart money is faceless. So the information is there, right? AI, again, we're using AI to create the content. So now Jen, who's on here, you just happened to pop up here on my screen, Jen. Jen can say, hey, you know what? Yes, my clients, she does, life insurance. She's very good at it. So now she can feel comfortable exposing her clients, and it could complement her business. So now she can say, hey, you know what? I'm the insurance for my clients, but yes, they do need tax planning. They do need to learn about, they do need credit repair. They have a business. They need access to funding. All of that stuff they can go get from Smart Money.
And matter of fact, I'm actually reaching out to Carl this week to make sure I set up a time for me and Kim to sit down and have a conversation with him, because definitely want to make sure we start putting things away right away in this platform. Now shift gears real quick here. When it comes to the commercial side, real quick, 1 or 2 here. Are we going to have someone that asks, are we going to have better communication and follow up system through the commercial deals with the newest company?
Yeah. So the first company that we set up a relationship with, it's a big company, right? So we really like that. They're big. They have everything in working order. They're very diligent with their work. However, they didn't want to do anything under 100 kilowatts, right? We're talking commercial solar now. So because of that, we had to go out and find somebody that would. And Mr. Julio and Ed here introduced us to our current partner, who we're extremely happy with. They're very creative in the way that they structure the deals. And the thing is, with them, we're integrating right now. They're building out some software to be able to track everything the whole way through. So yes, we are working on streamlining the communication. Right, you're just gonna kind of have to bear with us for a little bit here, but they're already working on it. And as soon as they're done on their end, they'll connect to our back end. But what we did for now is, I don't like to get in the middle, and I don't like for people to be in the dark. So you've experienced this, Sam. We connected everybody directly to them, so that there is no middleman.
Right. Awesome. Last question on commercial solar. Are we open to bringing in new commercial companies, competition, or just for having other companies out there to be able to take on the workload that we have?
So far, we don't want to get too many, right? So far right now, we're very pleased with how this new company is performing. So yeah, so the answer is yes, right? But we don't feel the need for it right now to go out and look for additional help. So because they are nationwide, all 50 states. As a matter of fact, they do some international work as well. Right.
Awesome.
So
That's fantastic. And one thing, just to touch base on the commercial side, guys, one thing that you'll notice is that when people come on board, there's a spirit of, I don't want to do the hard work, so I'm gonna swing for the fences and I'm just gonna go straight commercial. I wouldn't do that if I were you. I literally go in and build it the right way, organically, residentially, and then when you get a commercial deal, bring that to the table. Commercial deals take a little bit of while to fund and make sure. It's a lot of loopholes and a lot of red tape and stuff they got to go through. So make sure you're eating while you're referring. All right. So product and service development. Got a couple questions on this one right here, but what new products or services service offerings can we expect in the near future that you can talk about?
So I'm gonna right. So you already know about Ripple, right? So that one I can talk about openly. So you know about Ripple. Tomorrow, so that one it's already a work in progress. Right? We said end of January, so the timing is still right around end of January. So that one's exciting. It's very unique, right? So that's one. There's another product that right now I'm in negotiations with, final stages of negotiation. And here's what I can say, because I don't want to get ahead of myself. I don't want to jinx it. But it's in the blockchain space, It's into decentralization space, and it's very unique. It's a worldwide product and service, and I wish I could say more. And in a couple days, maybe we'll make an announcement. But yeah, so at the last event, I mentioned that I was looking for things in those, like in those industries, and this project, it has all of those components. So it has a blockchain component, a Web3 component, right, which is decentralization. It has a crypto component. It has a home services. The reason why I'm even considering it is because it is an essential home service, and that's the niche that we're in, right? We're in home services. It kind of checks all the boxes. You heard about it, Sam, and I couldn't stop talking about it for the first 72 hours, right? Because I was so excited because it just checks all the boxes, right? So, and you guys will hear about it soon. It's a very, very, very exciting product that'll take us worldwide.
Trust me, guys. If it wasn't for the leadership group, the people he can't talk to, he would burst. He's so excited about this thing. Trust me.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that. I said, hey, this is what I'm looking at, and it all showed up in one product. Like, it's just unbelievable.
Declarations. So earlier I had a question that you already answered earlier. How will we stay ahead of the competition? Because we're open-minded. That's one thing I appreciate, about you guys, and it's in totality. The day I met y'all were, open-minded, selfless, just real humble people, with a measurable level of success for each and every last one of you guys. But it was the openness, though. It was the, you guys, saying, hey, look, we're evolving, we're new, we're going to be big, we're going to be bad, but we have to be diversified. And so that's one of the things that really attracted me to you guys, and I appreciate that. Let's see here. Are we open to partnering with any other companies in different spaces?
Yes, absolutely. I built my entire career on collaborations. We live in the age of collaborations. So 100%. Obviously, it has to fit what we're doing, right? So yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I've had other company owners reach out and say, hey, you know what? I know this is going to be tough, but we've been friends for a long time. I've watched what you've done. I love all your partners are great. All of you guys are great. Is there any way we can collaborate? Right. And I never say no, right? Never say never. So right, let's think about it. Sometimes it's not going to work. Sometimes it will. But yes, we are definitely open.
That's fantastic. And when you look at, the financial projections and support, stuff like that, one of the questions that we got was, what are the company's financial projections for the next 2 to 5 years? And if you have those, and what are the drivers of the growth, do you think?
So you've heard us say this before. JC's been very outspoken about it, right? We want to be $1 billion company. We're gonna be $1 billion company, not a billion, billions, right? It takes time. So I'm not a wishful thinker. It's gonna take time, right? That requires a lot of people and a lot of volume. I do believe that we're gonna do it in the first 3 to 5 years, right? And someone asked me, in the very beginning, they said, is it going to be solar? I said, it could be, right? It could be. Like, our installer is $1 billion company. They did it with solar only. But that was like different times, right? They have a 10-year lead on us. For me to say that we're going to do it in the next 3 years, that's going to be a tough task. But we're not just solar, right? And there will be some opportunities, guys. I keep saying it. You're going to hear me say it, so get used to it. The next 24 to 48 months are going to be wild. So we are going to do it. Some of it will be solar, but we have some other very, very exciting lines of business that I think are going to accelerate that growth.
Yeah, I was. Go ahead.
And I don't mean to be cryptic about it, right? Like, I usually am very straight. I just don't want. I haven't signed. The ink hasn't dried, right? So I don't want to get ahead of myself. But it's a done deal. I told the person I'm dealing with, I said, you can't get rid of me now, so you might as well just sign now. Let's get this deal done, because you're not going to get rid of me. So, and it's done. It's a done deal. I just don't want to.
Yeah.
You'll hear
Yeah.
about it soon enough.
Well, we're here to help make sure it get done. And you see your buddy Ed Ayala's in the chat, asking you what makes BYLD the #1 business opportunity since he plugged in. I want to give you that question on behalf of Ed.
Yeah, it's the people. This is the people, right? This is a people business, right? So it's the people. I think that, I mean, solar is solar. Plenty of solar companies out there. Home security is home security, right? Like, these are not like exciting industries to be in. It's water is water, right? I think it's the people. I really do, right?
Yeah.
I've known, Mr. JC for, man, almost 15 years, right? So, and I've told him this before, like, when the right time comes, we'll partner up. When we are the right people, the opportunity is going to show up, right? I've been friends with the Pacheco's for just as long, right? And I'm a very good judge of character. And the newer people like yourself, Sam, right? We've had extensive conversations about, what one of the main things that I look for is character, right? Because that's what's going to make us different at the end of the day, right? That's it. I've seen companies that have, and yes, we are very diligent. We cross our T's, we dot our I's. We have our legal team with a lot of experience, operations team. All of that is important. But at the end of the day, I think it's the people. We're attracting all the right people.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny because I had a brunch today with a gentleman who he was with us in the coffee company, and then he actually called me about their solar deal, and the one that Ed and Julio came from, and he was pitching me on it, but at the same time I was in talks with y'all, and when I said no, I went back and I told him why I said no, and it was the people, and I said, yeah, you got solar, we got solar, solar, you know what it is. We come up from a place where it don't matter what we sell, is who's selling it. We can sell anything. But it's the people. I got tired of being in companies where I have to look over my shoulder. I have to continue to go and get legal documents signed and get everything that was promised to me signed and documents and stuff like that. I felt real good about it. But he was talking about making a move with people who basically we did business with in the past. I just shared this with it. I said, your comfort zone is your broke zone. Okay? It's when you are now going back to do business with people who you failed with in the past, you're looking to fail again, just because they're in a different opportunity. And even though they're starting that opportunity, you might want to give yourself an opportunity to meet somebody new. Okay. And there's some people out there who can help you out, and you're going to miss them, if you continue to uh, choose and pick the same people doing the same thing, because that's the definition of insanity. And all it takes is, like Mark Cuban said, you only had to get it right one time to change your life forever, and it's happened to me before. And once that one time happened for me, yeah, I know how to recognize it and see it, and it's done, it over and over and over again and repeated itself. And so, again, I just want to thank you and the rest of the ownership, that we have here, great ownership that we have here at the company, for being who you are, talking about people.
One more thing that I would add to that, Sam, right? So,
Sure.
we have the people, and it's a really, really cool, diverse group, and we don't have like 10 Wences. We don't have like 10 Sams or 10 C's, right? Where I've seen companies where it's like you have the same guy, right? And all kind of fighting for the spotlight. They're all, they're like, it's the same person, right? That's like having 10 centers on a basketball team, right? Or 10 quarterbacks on a football team. Doesn't work, right? So everybody has to play their position and pitch in.
Right.
So far, we've attracted a really cool collaboration of talent, right? Of diverse talent. So that's really cool. And I love all of you guys, right? All of the leadership team, because you guys allow me to do what I do, right? And I really appreciate that. I appreciate that, because then I can go and do what I do.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's important. No egos,
Yeah.
and we all have, right? Not no egos, but they're all in check, right? And we're all in it with the same and for the greater good.
Yeah, and like you said, everybody's got their own unique skill set, and but everybody's also here with a heart to serve. And so for me, like I said, from day one, all I want to do is come in here and take the load off your back, and like I said, so you guys can go be great in the areas you're great in. You know, I know my lane. Ed and Julio know their lane. Everybody's doing their thing, but nobody's getting in nobody's way. So, man, I love that big time team effort. So, um, here's a question here. Are there any plans for offering incentives or rewards for high performing distributors?
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. We can't get into the details, but yes, I believe that, you've heard me say it many times, right? You have to take ownership. You have to take ownership, right? So the leaders are definitely going to have some opportunities, um, because we're not a one. I'm just going to say one trick pony, right? So we're not in just one industry. There will be opportunities with this next product, for example, right? As we hit certain metrics, certain number of customers, we get incentivized, right, by the company, and that is going to be transferred over to the field, right? So that everybody gets to participate in. I've seen it one too many times, Sam, where these companies are built in such a way where when there is an exit, there's like the income gap between the owner and the next guy down is gigantic, right? Like it's huge, right? So not gonna name any companies or any owners, but it's happened a lot of times. So the owner lives in a certain zip code, but the next person down. So if you just go look at the entire company roster and you go, hey, how much did this guy make? And then the next one down, that gap is too big. Right? Like there's only so much that you need, right? So, and this is not my only project. Like I'm still young. I'm gonna continue to do other things, and so I don't need to. This doesn't need to be the one thing for me, right? So what I'm looking at is I'm looking to create like we talk about it, right? Like generational company, right? So if we create a distribution channel, I guarantee you that there will be products that are going to come out that will keep this company going. Right? So once all 90 million homes have solar, then what do we do? Well, once all 90 million homes have home security, then what? I guarantee you there will be something else that that we can sell. So we're setting it up where we can do that. And this is not like hey, we're gonna sell it in 3 years, and then your hard work, now you have to go and start all over again.
Yeah. Well, I'll give it to you. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard Idris Alaka do a presentation, but that's when he looked at those roofs. He said, it says, "What do you see when you see this picture?" And he said, "I see a roof that needs solar, a roof that needs security, a home that needs water, and people who live in that house who need financial education." So, I like the way Idris thinks. So he's on par with corporation. And but you look at just the generosity. I bring up the generosity in the presentation when I communicate with my audience, and it's because you guys you give so much away in the compensation plan. It's ridiculous. As a matter of fact, to the point to where when I first saw the company without seeing the whole entire compensation plan, I was wondering how the heck are you guys doing it, getting away with it, and planning on keeping your doors open. And then I sat down with JC, and he broke it all down to me. And when it comes to the coding, the locks, and everything that's in place, but man, I tell you, you guys have huge hearts, and but that's the thing about network marketing, direct sales, high ticket sales. The companies who they may have a great run, okay, but they don't have long careers because of greed. And when you are overpaying people for what they should be doing anyway, what they would get paid less to do in another company happily, people don't leave profitable places, right? And so the more profitable people you have in the field, that means that the more revenues come into the company, and the happy customers obviously have to be happy because they're buying it. So it's a win-win-win situation. So, but it starts with you and all the owners with that mindset of being generous. Appreciate that. Let's see here. Okay, as far as the culture is concerned, again, this is one of the culture questions that we had here. How will the company prioritize and support the well-being and success of its distributors?
Wait, say that again. How will the company
How will the company prioritize and support the well-being and success of its distributors?
Well, from one, let's start. You talk about compensation, right? So
Mhm.
that tells you a lot about a company, right? How much do they pay? And I have to give credit to JC because he's the one who said, "Hey, we're paying out 85% on the solar sales." And at first, I said, I've been battling for years with other owners because they don't pay enough, but 85 is really, really high, right? So it all starts with that, right? We're in business here. This is not a club. This is a business, right? We're all in business, so we want to make money. So I think it starts with compensation, right? Healthy compensation. The culture is being created, right? Like we're creating the culture. I think transparency is going to play a big factor in that. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I'm pretty transparent, right? So there are maybe a little bit too much, but that's okay. I'd rather have it that way, right? And have people leave because I said too much, right? And not enough, right? So figure out whether this is for you faster, right? Feel fast. Figure out whether we're for you fast and move on. So the company culture, it's people like you, Sam, right? Like you're the culture builder. I'm more of the hobby, like, behind the scenes. But we're attracting some really good people. Wait till you guys see Mr. Julio Aquino sing, right? I think when we have the convention, we're gonna have like a BYLD talent
show.
We're gonna have a talent show. You guys want to watch Mr. Erjan dance and Julio sing, and it's just a cool company culture overall, and that's I have to credit that to everybody, all of you, everyone that you brought to the company. Mr. Sam everyone's been amazing, right? So we just have we have some filters in place already, and here's how I know that. At our grand opening, I saw some people that I wouldn't have invited to the company, and guess what? They're not here. I'm not gonna say no. I'm never gonna tell you, hey, don't recruit this person, because you never know, right? They might change. They might have changed already, changed their ways. So I'm never gonna say don't get so and so. If they want to come, they might have changed their ways. Great, let's give them an opportunity. But I noticed that they came and they immediately left. They're no longer here. So we already have some filters in place to weed some people out.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love how those filters are. When you look at the culture, and I do this, I talk about this all the time. When you have a culture in a company where people who backslide, people who steal people from people's group, people who come in with the entitlement syndrome, all people who have all these bad things and bad habits that they gotten from the industry, and they look at the company from the outside, and they look at who's running it, and they look at what's in place, and they start hearing, they listen to the calls, and they hear who we are culture-wise. It's, nah, I can't go there. I wouldn't be able to survive there. And then the ones who think that they're good enough and they think they're slick enough that they feel like they can beat the system and come and penetrate our walls and start to do all the nonsense that they do, they realize real fast this is not the place for it. Because again, we police it and we police it well. There's open lines of communication, open lines of dialogue from top to bottom, and we get things done. And that's one of the things I appreciate, about what we do and how we do business here. So. Right now, those are the questions that I had that we had preset that people had already sent in. Do you have time to, before we get to our big announcement, do you have time to answer a question or two?
Let's do it.
All right, guys. Great questions. Give me some great questions. Let me see here. Let's see here. Great questions. Send me some great questions here. Okay.
Everybody now, all they can talk about is Julio singing. Sorry, Julio.
I witnessed it in person. You'll like it. Now, one thing I do see is not a question, but it is a comment. It says, "Build is built on a spiritual foundation and genuinely care." Guys, I'm gonna tell you right now, that's the truth. That is the truth. And this is the thing, when it comes to the Millionaire Next Door, there's a book, and with the Millionaire Next Door, it talks about every 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure earner has one thing and one thing in common. It's not necessarily who they worship, is that they have a spiritual connection with something greater than them. And so, that's one thing I can say from Mr. Navarro, Pacheco's, JC, all of them have that spiritual connection. And again, with their creators. And again, it emanates out of them into the company. And so it shows. And so I appreciate that. Let's see here. Okay.
Good
Yeah.
question from Ed. He's good.
Matter of fact, I think I just, yeah. Can everyone make it can everyone make it at Build and why?
I don't think everyone can make it, right? Because some people are just, sometimes it's timing, right? They're just not ready for it. But I think if someone comes in and they actually try, I definitely think that they can make it. And here's the one thing that I've said before, I think is a good time to bring it up. We know that we're not gonna have 100% success rate, in creating entrepreneurs. It's just impossible, right? The industry has a very high failure rate, but the one thing that I really, really like, I'm consciously like just trying really, really hard to accomplish, is that everyone that comes through Build leaves with a good taste in their mouth and having learned something, right? Whether maybe it was just like one thing, right? Maybe it was just one thing. They got on the Smart Money Club and they fixed their credit, and now they went on to go do something else. But that one thing, I want everybody to come and just at least leave with a really good taste in their mouth, right? Like, I'm glad that I stopped by, that I was there for a month or 2 or 3 or a year, whatever, however long they come. I want them to come and learn something and take something with them.
Yeah, like a water filter system. Take a ripple system with you. Take a solar system with you. Take something with you that's going to last for a lifetime. And so, some kind of impact. But I like that. But the cool part about it is, in life you'll have people who quit for a living. You have people who dropped out when you were in high school, and you have people who quit a job. You have people who quit relationships. You have people who quit everything. And like I said, it's definitely going to be up to them. But the one thing that I can't say, just like what Wences says, is it's in their hands, and it's basically pro-choice. So this one you can't blame on not having recruiting, capabilities. Again, if you can go to work and clock in for somebody in sales and work 40 hours a week, hitting the phones, making 200 phone calls a day, or knocking on doors, or making sales, period, standing up at a car lot, you have zero excuses here. The company's taking 100% of your excuses away by giving you trainings, basically every other day of the week. And it's just like the radio. You turn on when you want to hear it, you turn off when you don't. But you won't be able to say that Bill was the reason that you failed.
Right.
All right. Let's see. Roxy says, what do you see the company by the end of the year?
I believe, if everything goes according to plan, right, and with this new service, and with now our foundation that we have with solar, with Ripple, I don't see, and the fact that we're going, outside of the US, right, worldwide, I don't see why we can't have 250,000 people in the organization. Like, that's the goal, right? So when you're talking international expansion, right, that opens up a lot of opportunity. Right? I said the other day, right, and people outside of the US don't have as many opportunities as we do. They're not as easily distracted as we are, and they don't need as much money to do this full time. That's a big advantage that they have, right? So that is a big advantage. Here in the US, you have to make a few $1,000s to consider going full time. But outside of the US, they make a few $100s. And now you have a walking, talking billboard all day long.
Yeah. And you know what? And to that, when you look at people in other countries, they don't have welfare. They don't have Section 8 housing. They don't have government assistance. A lot of it's either you eat or you starve. It's a survival situation for most countries out there. And again, that's why, for us, it's pro-choice. You have people who are in our country on welfare who live like kings and queens, compared to other countries that have full-time jobs. We have people that's here on welfare that make 4 times the amount of people who have a full-time job as teachers in the Dominican Republic and Mexico and places like that. So again, we are a spoiled society, and a lot of people out there have been conditioned to work. And the crazy part about it is, as Americans, we were conditioned to do that before, back in the day when everybody had to work, and we were one of the hardest working nations out there, and things have changed. And so, but network marketing, direct sales, big businesses like this, they thrive outside the country. Let's see, what's the biggest challenge the company is currently facing, and how are you addressing it? Chris McHenry. Great question.
Is the biggest challenge that we're currently facing. I think the biggest challenge from the very beginning has been reporting, right? Because this is a very unique, everything that we're building was from scratch, right? So we're building it from the ground up. This is not a off-the-shelf software. And then our partner, Freedom on the solar side, they have their way of doing things. They've never had a company like a direct sales company like us, network marketing. They've never integrated with that. They haven't had the need to go create the reporting that we need, right? So that's been a challenge, but we've addressed it as best as we could, right? And those of you that do a lot of solar deals, that if you have a question, we'll find the answer, right? We've made a lot of exceptions in year one because I think we should, right? We have some high level executives on the team, like some people that have made some very good suggestions, and I like that. But I always go back to, hey, this is a people business, right? So I could very easily just start a chat feature on the website and say, hey, every time you have a question, you're not calling Juan, you're not calling Wences or JC or Sam, you just go to the chat. That's easy to do, right? And yes, it would make it very professional, but no, this is a people business. So if you have a question and we don't have the reporting, we're going to answer it. We're going to figure it out, right? We're going to take time out of our day to answer it. I was answering questions. Jabari should be on here. I was answering questions for Jabari about 30 minutes before midnight Pacific Standard Time, New Year's Eve. Ask him, he'll tell you. Put it in the chat, Jabari, right? So this is a people business, and I'm not too, foo-foo for anything. I'll do whatever it takes, right? So if I have to answer questions before New Year's Eve, I'm going to answer questions on New Year's Eve. Now, year 5, no, I'm not going to answer questions on New Year's Eve, right? Year 3, maybe not. But right now, I'll roll up my sleeves and I'll do whatever I have to do, right? Do I have the know-how? Do I know how to set up systems and processes so I don't have to do that? Yes. But again, this is not your typical, we're not Bank of America. We're not Wells Fargo, right? This is a people business, right? So in the beginning, we were going to go through some growing pains.
Yeah.
So there was a long-winded answer for Chris, but we're going to make some exceptions in the beginning, and little by little, we are taking notes of all the things, the frequently asked questions, and it'll be streamlined for sure. But right now, that has been the biggest thing, just reporting. But we're really, really close to have update everything. So every single deal that was submitted from day one, we've had to upload it to the system manually and scrub it. And solar commissions are not the easiest things to track. They're divided in 3 parts and they fluctuate. And even after the install, sometimes they change. So it's not an easy task. It hasn't been an easy task, but we're really close to catching up. And it's easier to keep up than to catch up. So from this point on, all we have to do is just keep up.
Awesome. All right. Question from Laura. Is the builder pack the only way we can monetize from customers, or will one day we have a way for our customers just to be customers without joining BYLD?
100%. We actually have to do that, right? We have to do that. So in the new website, so we're going to be releasing the new website here in the next week or so. In the new website, you'll see there will be a just smart money only, right? So you can sign someone up just for smart money. And that is our retail product offering.
Subs. All right. I'm making that answer right there.
That's a great question. That's a great question. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Jessica, Mr. Navarro, what is a piece of advice you would give to your 20-year-old self, and piece of advice for those looking to build a legacy here?
Yeah, I would say, so my 20-year-old self, and I mentioned that I had early success. and I don't care. I'm not one that's gonna hide the name of the company or not want to talk about it. I was with ACN, a company called ACN. I was 19 years old, and I think if I would have stuck around with that company, right, that in hindsight 2020, right, but I think I would have done really, really well and not had the need to jump around and explore. I think I had success. I was already there, and I made a decision based on emotion, and ended up leaving. And I think I would have stuck around. So one thing I would tell my 20-year-old self is find a company, right, and with the right leadership that you can relate to and you think you can learn from, and stick it out, like stay in one place, because nowadays it's hard. It's easier said than done because there are just so many distractions, right? We get bombarded on social media, right? I mean, how many ads do we get a day that, like, especially for us that are in the entrepreneur niche, we get targeted all the time, right? With all the newest money-making opportunities. It's really hard. So back then it was easier and I couldn't do it. So I don't blame you if you're looking at the ads, but just make a decision like, hey, you know what? This is my home, and plant your flag and go.
Yeah. Yeah. Make it not optional. It's like the word divorce. In certain households, people who will be married forever, they don't, divorce is not one of those words you use. You don't even think about it. You don't talk about it. It's just, it's just automatic that you work it out. And that's the thing with people. When I say some people just quit everything when it gets tough, that's why they die poor, and so, you have people who will come in and stick it out and make it happen. And so appreciate that answer, both. Next question here. We got Hans says, the financial industry does a phenomenal job training professionals to be the best, of the best. When you look at the home services industry and what we are putting together at BYLD, how do we foresee us teaching and training builders how to be an elite pro within our platform?
Well, that's I think we're already doing a good job at training, right? Like the specific product specific training. We're already also doing the Millionaire mentor calls, right? As we grow, we're going to continue to develop and attract more talent, right? But I think we're doing a good job at the industry. We could, I mean, network marketing, direct sales, we used to say when I was with ACN and I was with WFG at one point, it's a personal development program with a compensation plan attached to it, right? So yeah, and you've heard, Mr. JC talk about, we're going to build the people and the people are going to build the business, right? So if we just copy the companies that have been around and have done it, financial services companies are a great example of that, right? So you're right on, Hans. So I come from that background. So we're going to copy the companies that have done a good job at that, right? So, and the two companies I just mentioned are probably two of the best in the business, right? So ACN, 30 years, they did a phenomenal job at creating entrepreneurs, and same thing with World Financial Group. And I mean, I could name 10 companies off the top of my head that they all kind of adopt the same philosophy of building people first.
And the cool part about, again, the extensive backgrounds, you can answer questions like this because you've seen, people in this situation. And this question is, how do you best prospect jaded network marketers?
Like it's with network marketing, once you're in, like you never leave. So you think you're jaded, but you're not, right? Because they're jaded because the nature of the industry is that sometimes it's new people that are explaining the business, right? Like if everyone got to hear a presentation from like the greats, like one of the greats in the industry, like if everyone got to hear it from Mr. Sam being here, like there wouldn't be anybody that's jaded, right? Like it's just the business model makes sense. Sometimes they get to hear it from someone that just joined a week ago, right? So they don't understand it. And sometimes they just ended up in a bad place, right? There are some companies that just weren't set up for people to have success, or they were just set up incorrectly. So I would say expose them and let them figure out how jaded they really are. Because I've heard it many times where, oh no, I'm never doing it again. And next thing you know, they do a post on their social media and they go, hey, I'm locking arms with Sam Bean and we're taking over the world together.
Right.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen that where someone says I'm done and they go, because here's another thing. Consider the alternatives, right? So if they've been in this industry, now what are they gonna go find? What's out there, right? That is going to replace that. It's hard to leave. This industry is hard to leave. It sucks you back in. So I would say just expose them, right? Expose them, and let them figure that out. Let them sort it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, when you talk about the business decision, do you prioritize by income potential? Do you prioritize by security potential? It's one time, when you're talking to people, you'll find out also the more and more you let them talk, the more and more they'll tell you they're the reason why they're jaded as well. It's not always the industry. It's not always the company. A lot of times it's self-inflicted. So again, don't believe 100% of everything network marketers tell you. Network marketers lie a lot and they can't keep secrets either. So uh let's see here.
Just a simple, like more straightforward answer to the question. Just look, we do it all the time. I've been doing this for a long time and I use these lines, like learn the words of the business, right? I get the phone calls. You're gonna laugh, Sam, because you probably get them. And I get my friend who I know just started a project, another network marketing company. He says, hey, I need your opinion, right? Hey, I need your opinion. I'm like, oh, I already know where that's going, right? But out of respect and I might end up calling them down the road. So yes, all right, yes, I know what you're trying to do, but I'll take a look.
Right.
Take a look. So learn the words of the business and it works.
I had that happen to me last week. Matter of fact, it turned into about an hour and 35-minute phone call. And now he's looking at bringing solar into his portfolio, his little hub of deals that he's got going on. So again, yeah, it happens. Let's see here. Oh, if some of us get to build 8,000 and some of us don't get to build 8,000 by convention in June to sign the ownership of the company individually, will there be other opportunities like this at future company events?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely, yes.
Yep. Awesome. All right. And so I think let me see here. Will there be a leadership board, will there be a leaderboard on the new site?
On the new site, no. In the back office, yes. So right now, in order of priority, we're prioritizing reporting. So reporting is the priority right now. We need to get that done. Once that's done, then the back office, we're gonna give it a facelift, right? So our back office is functional. It has everything, all the bells and whistles, and we're gonna kind of revamp the look and feel a little bit. Right. So I am aware that it looks the design, right, is not 2025, right? So but it's functional, right? And look, by the time somebody joins your team and they see the back office, they're already in. So I doubted that anybody is going to say, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna, join your business because I saw your back office, so I'm out of here. I highly doubt that's going to happen. But I do understand it needs to have a certain look and feel. So we are going to revamp it, and in that revamp, we'll add some leadership, some leaderboards, things like announcements, all of that will be in the back office. Right now, it looks like a government website, but that's cool. It does what it's supposed to, right?
Yes, sir. Now, is there going to be a sizzle video for Rain H2O?
Yes, yeah, so year two. Here's what you can expect in year two, right? We haven't even officially hit a year, but here's what you can expect: more marketing tools, right? More like some really good, some teaser videos. Look, people have the attention span of a goldfish nowadays, right? Including yours truly. So I get it, right? I click on an ad, and if it's one of those lengthy, long ads, what I'll do is I'll here's what I do all the time. I catch myself. I'll click on an ad because I'm a sucker for ads, and I like to spy on what other people are doing with marketing. So I'll click on an ad, and if I get the feeling that it's one of those that are gonna drag out, what I'll do is I'll open it in a browser, and then I'll come back to it later because I don't want to lose it, right? If you click out of it on social media, you're not gonna get it again. But I'll open it, it says open in browser, I open it in the browser, right? So I understand people have short attention spans. So we're gonna have teaser videos, all of that stuff. So year 2, you're gonna see more of the fun stuff coming out, right? And now that we're kind of set, like we're still evolving as a company, but like for example, if I would have made like the teaser video for the Smart Money Club away, we would have already had to change it, right? So yeah, expect like some cool marketing tools. And I get very creative. That's one of the things that companies would hire me for, is to get creative with marketing. How do I prospect, right? A little bit different.
Awesome. And one more I have, I'm looking at, okay, so, okay. Do you see, an opportunity for us to add more subscriptions with other situations?
Subscriptions with other situations?
Yeah, like, I guess they're talking about the subscriptions that we have with Smart Money. And we also have another subscription coming with Ripple. We have, because how Amazon has like 12 to 15 subscriptions. And so I guess that's what they're talking about.
So yeah, the answer is yes, right? The goal is to make the smart money. So with the smart money right now, you get all the financial literacy and all the stuff we talked about. But you also remember, you also get access to the travel, right? So that the new travel platform that we're rolling out is the best in the industry, the best in the business. Like there is no better one. This is the best one. So that also comes with that. It's included. I don't think I was clear about that the other day. So it is included. So the goal is to make that membership just a no-brainer, where you go, hey, I found out about it, I signed up, and now there's no point for me to cancel.
Right. There you
Right?
go.
But yes, so to answer your question, yes, if there are opportunities to add others, and it has to make sense, right? It has to make sense, but yes.
All right. Let's see here. All right, let's see here. I guess this will be the last one right here. Great meeting for solar. We have, let's see here. This thing is in the way. Yeah, good training, but I feel like for the water and security, do we have good training videos so that we can have good confidence, or present better about the products, with customers confidently?
Yes, for sure. We definitely need more training on the security. I saw a question I don't want to ignore, so I'll go back to on the security. We were only in a limit, like there are some limitations when it comes to security on how much, who can make the sale, right? You need to have the proper, it's not even licensing. Well, let's call it licensing, right? So, but we will show enough to pique interest and, kind of walk people through the process. To be honest, I think that, our like solar, right? I encourage everybody to learn like at least the basics, right? Even if that's not going to be the focus, I tell everyone, learn enough, right? But something like small, like home security, right now with Ripple, we haven't emphasized it enough because we were more focused on solar, right? But as now we're rolling out a new product, we're rolling out the ADT in more states. We are going to put more focus on training. One of my fears was to have too many things where people get too distracted and they get caught up in learning. I want to learn all about solar, all about security, all about water, all about smart money, and then I'll take action, right? But then I realized, no, that's not true, right? People kind of gravitate to what they like, right? And they'll go and get the training on what they want to focus on, right? So, and there will be people who are going to just take 3 months to go watch every training possible. They're just delaying, the inevitable, which is getting to the money-making activities. But those people find a way to do that anyway.
Gotcha. Now, I do have an interesting question here from Chris, and he said, is there an option for customers to pay 1, 2, or 3 years in advance?
No, it's not legal.
Gotcha.
In the industry to do that.
All right. That's a good enough answer for me. All right. So,
Can't do it. That'd
yeah.
be cool. I wouldn't mind, because someone paid for a year in advance. I think it would be like, I would encourage them to take it a little bit more serious, right? Sometimes I think, what's $50, $49 or $99, people just kind of treat it like a thing that they tried, not like a business, right? But yeah, legally we can't do it.
Yeah, no problem. So, at this point in time, before we shift gears and then I turn the microphone over to you, I definitely want to give a shout out to some of the unsung heroes. Again, because we have people who are behind the scenes that are killing it and killing it for you guys. And I'll start off with Mrs. Navarro, who, again, she's doing her thing when it comes to payroll and back office stuff, guys. She's out there, hitting it hard. Then you have Mrs. Rangel, who's out there on the security side, making it happen. You have Juan, again, who is the vice president of everything, even though that's not his title. Dude does everything. He's like a robot. And when you look at Jessica as well, project manager, and Stephanie, who's just creative, and she does a lot of the artwork and things that you guys just, you look at and just don't put any thought behind. Somebody's doing all of this stuff. And again, that's the part of the system, and so we want to make sure that each and every last one of you guys, when you see the system, know that it's happening, and you really and truly, don't have to do a whole lot. Even Ms. Omi, who came on board with us, but she's been there standing in the gap as well, doing things for the company here and there. So you want to make sure, guys, that again, when you see one and out and about, you see Jessica, you hear from Stephanie or Mr. and Mrs. Navarro, Mrs. Rangel, show them you appreciate them. Again, because I know Miss Pacheco, she gets her shouts out, and so do the other people who are partners and stuff like that. But again, without them guys, we wouldn't be where we're at or where we're going. Okay. And so speaking of somebody who is an integral part of where we're at, I'll turn it over to you. And because I know you've been knowing this dude for a long time, and I know you want to give him his just due desserts.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I actually we should have done this announcement right at the time when it happened, but I talked about having all the right people, right, in the company, the right leadership. It's super, super important. We're attracting all the right people, but it's also it's also important to have the right people in the right seats, right? So, my good friend and business partner, Mr. JC Rangel, kind of suckered me back into the industry after I was jaded from network marketing, and I said I would never do it again. He got me back in the mix here, and when we first started the conversation, like I said, it wasn't in my plans, and I kind of was assuming in the very beginning that he was going to take on that role, right, of founder, president, CEO, and I was going to be more of a supporting cast. But as things started to evolve, we said, hey, let's rearrange the positions here at the top a little bit, and let's play to our strengths, right? So he assumed the role of vice president of sales, because that was what he felt like he was going to focus on in the beginning. But from the very, very beginning, this should have been his title, president. So I know some of you guys saw it already, and I got the questions. So just to make it official, our president, Mr. JC Rangel, I don't know if you're on here, JC, but this announcement was a little bit late, but long time overdue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I am on here. I want to make sure that you know that. And first of all, great job, both of you. Mr. Navarro, my good friend, I am super happy and grateful that, for everything that's going on, to have you as my partner. When we sat down and put the vision together for this, one of for the Spanish speaking people, you'll understand. I said, look, I'm in a really comfortable situation. I'm doing very good. Yeah, there's some frustrations, but this is a big undertaking. And one of the phrases that Mr. Navarro said to me is, for the Spanish speaking people understand, and I'll translate it. He said, "No tengas miedo al éxito." Don't be afraid of success, right? And I started laughing. I'm like, all right. Then I'm at the mall and I see these guys, and that's exactly what it said on the back of their shirt, like a week later. And I sent you a picture, a text message of these bunch of youngsters. You know, they had to be teenagers or 20-year-olds. And I sent them a picture. Look what I just saw. And I said, hey, man, are you still serious about that? If so, let's have a conversation. And we did. Long story short, we put this company together. And, you know, I told him one thing. I said, listen, if we could get the Pachecos on board, and if it's these three families, the Navarros, the Pachecos, and the Rangels, we'll go from 99% confident to 100% confident, right? And he says, I can get them. So we met up at their house. We were there for hours, and then this whole thing got put together. So anyways, just as he mentioned, to close this off, it's about playing the roles that need to be played, right? I said, look, you are the CEO. Back in the days, 10 years ago, I had a much bigger ego than I do now. I said, here's what I want. I don't care to be right. I care to win. What is it going to take for us to win? Let's win. When Mr. Sam Bean came and he said, hey, listen, I'd like to, you know, lead the Millionaire Mentorship Zoom. I said, brother, you know, you're the guy for the job. Go for it. Because it's not about, like, for me, it's not about the title and this and that. I don't care. For a long time, most of the people didn't even know that I was a founder in the company, right? Is, you know, Mr. Navarro and I are the first people that put this together. Then we brought Mr. and Mrs. Pacheco, and we started building this thing together because it didn't matter to me. What I cared is, let's go. And here's one thing that I told Mr. Navarro. I want to have a position on the field. I'm a builder. So I'm going to be out on the field recruiting, selling, training. If in a nutshell, that's what I do. I recruit, I sell, and I train, and I'm going to take on some corporate stuff because I'm a field guy. I've been a field guy for a long time. Not only that, I designed that comp plan. So you know how much money there is in that compensation plan? I want to be a dog. I want to have my builder position. I will be an executive 250. I will be a national director, just like a lot of you here. It wasn't enough for me to just want to be, you know, behind the scenes or anything like that. I needed to be out on the field. And guess what? That's what we're doing. So anyways, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. And, you know, back to you, Mr. Navarro.
All right. So we have
and real quick before you do that, I definitely want to say I'm glad you did it. You know, honestly, because for me, I'm real big on edification. I'm real big on you know, respect. And so when you're VP of sales, you know, people, they overlook sometimes that you're an owner. They overlook sometimes that you're a partner, and they take it for granted. And that access that you give them so freely is dangerous. Okay. And sometimes, again, because you guys sometimes, like Wences said, sometimes I'm a little bit too transparent, but sometimes you got a little bit too accessible too. And in the beginning, again, we have to have that. I get that part, but I'm glad you took that presidential role and ran with it, because people need to see a higher level of edification. They need to see a higher level of ownership by title, so they don't get comfortable, you know, because again, you know, when you have no respect, you have casual acquaintances in your field, you won't be able to hit $1 billion corporation like that. So again, I appreciate you doing that for all of us.
Thank you, brother. Thank you very much.
Cool deal. All right, Mr. Sam, so do you have the other, did you get a chance to get the other flyer together? All right, so, wait, who's that in the picture?
The handsome guy in the picture.
So, second part of the announcement here is that the one and only Mr. Sam Bean here will be stepping into that role of VP of sales. Again, we're looking at, you know, who's doing what, right? No egos, no putting all that aside, right? He has taken on a leadership position, and the previous title was VP of Leadership Development, which he has done a phenomenal job. So, right, but he's doing so much more than just that, right? So much more. And I told you this, you know, in private conversation, Sam, but we're so appreciative. You know, we're so lucky to have you. I'm I'm glad that you caught the vision, right? When you came down, you were at the pre-launch event, right? If I'm not mistaken, it was the pre-launch event
Correct.
when we met for the first time. And I told JC, I said, we need to do whatever we have to do, to get this man on board and his lovely wife, right? So we got a 2-for-1 package there, and she wasn't there that first day. She hadn't really bought into it yet, but eventually we got that 2-for-1.
Yeah.
So we are extremely, extremely grateful to have you, Mr. Sam Bean, and the VP of Sales doesn't even do it justice, right? But that is what you're doing, right? That's what you do, subs, right? So.
All right. I'm gonna tell you, I appreciate you guys both. And and just to go back to when I came to California, I didn't know the structure of the company. JC is VP of sales and he's also a partner. And so, when I met you and I met the Pachecos, I had no idea who you guys were. And then just because, again, you're not out in front of the room talking about, look at me. I'm the owner of this, I'm the partner of that, I'm the owner of this, I invest in that. And, when we were sitting at the table, again, just real calm, real cool, real collected. But everybody's paying attention, everybody's listening, asking questions. And it's just like that whole entire environment. When I told my wife, the night I'm saying, hey, look, I'm not coming home tonight. I got to hang around the next for another night, and we have another conversation to have because I think these are some good people, and I think they have their hands on something special. And I was right. You guys are special. You guys do have your hands on something special, and I'm really excited to be about it and be here with you guys with it. And I just remember riding in the car with JC when I was in Cali. One of the first times we was moving around, going to the studio doing podcasts, and I had just wrote out my affirmations, rewrote them out. And I said, one of the things that I had on the very, very bottom of it was, I will be a part owner, of BYLD. And didn't tell anybody about it, but JC said, hey, look, just for the record, me and Wences, we were talking about, giving you some partnership in the company. And I'm like, man, look, we had this, remember that conversation, JC? I'm like, hey,
I do.
Let me read something to you, bro. And I pulled up my affirmations while he was driving. I read it to him. And, because at the end of the day, I understand, like I said, it only takes one time, right? For like Mark Cuban says, it only takes one time for you to get it right so you can live the rest of your life the way you want to, so you can have that lifestyle, you can have that freedom. And I understand that the moment I got rich, a lot of people said no and they missed it. And I'm like, this is the chance. This is where I can go out here now and not just get rich, but get other people rich, just like me. We had a couple people, we had maybe 6 or 7 people made 7 figures in the companies that we did in the past. We're talking about now having 70 to 100 people making millions of dollars in this company. And, so I appreciate you guys trusting me with the platform and trust me with your people, because again, that's not something, that leaders and owners do. I don't let anybody talk to my group. And so for them to allow me access to the company, it just says a lot about what they think about me, and I appreciate you guys.
Well deserved, Sam. Well deserved. We're lucky to have you. So, and things are going to change, right? I mean, I've always said, and I have always done this in all my companies, right? It's best man for the job, right? Best man, best or woman, right? Best man or woman for the job, right? So, you're the best man for the job.
I'd like to say a few words. This was long overdue. We were talking about the VP of sales position. I'm like, well, listen, Mr. Samuel Bean is certainly the guy that comes to my mind, and we were all on the same page, so there was no hesitation. At the end of the day, right, I've learned throughout the years that, as Mr. Navarro said, we don't mean to sound like a broken record, but best man or woman for the job. And if you take away the ego and you don't care who gets the credit, everybody wins. Does that make sense? And if you notice, none of us are ever going to compete with anybody on the field. We're not going to compete with each other. It's like, we may compete with each other in a friendly way. That's fine. But I've been a part of organizations in network marketing where the organization and the company fell apart because there was so much ego at the top, and it's crazy. And here's another reason why too, ladies and gentlemen. This also happens because when they start making the big bucks for the first time, they don't know how to handle it. Mr. Navarro has made many millions of dollars. Mr. Bean has made many millions of dollars. I've made millions of dollars as well. Probably not as many millions as they have, but nevertheless, millions, okay? And listen, another thing that I like is I love Mr. Navarro and his family. My wife and his wife are friends. Our kids are friends. The Pachecos, right? Our wives are friends. We're friends. We do life together. Now we're doing life together with Mr. Bean. So, you know, when you've got that kind of a grounded organization and a grounded leadership, it's a little bit different, right? From what I've experienced, at least, right? This is just my opinions. So anyways, you know, to Mr. Samuel Bean, brother, I couldn't be happier to be partnered with you. There's nobody I could think of that is more deserving of that position. And frankly, I don't think that position does you justice. But that's the best one that we could think of right now. I mean, if I could think of a cooler one, I would, bro. And,
I got one. I got one. $1 million a month, then $2 million a month. Greater, better position.
There you go. Exactly. There you go. and we're working together. So, yeah, happy. You know. Anyways, back to you, Mr. Navarro.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better myself. So we're lucky to have you, Sam. So here's we're going on over an hour and a half here. So let's wrap it up. Here's what, since we are kind of at the beginning of the year 2, let's call it. Here's what I want you to know. We already talked about the people and we have your best interest, all of that, right? But now let's get to the nuts and bolts. Like, we know what we have and we also know what we don't have, right? And I've you know, a lot of you guys have expressed, you know, your concerns and think just, and for the most part, they're little, right? Most of the time it's just like the one thing that we've dealt with the most is just reporting. And I already addressed that, right? We're getting close. And once that's done, I'm sure we'll have another challenge, and it never stops, right? We're going to keep growing, keep getting better. But I just want to reassure you that we know what needs to happen from this point to get to the next level, right? And we're working on it. Probably, if you can think of it, all right, we're probably working on it already, right? We have the team, and also we're very resourceful, right? That's the one thing that you'll find out. I'm very, very resourceful. When I say I'm gonna go and find something or find the right person for the job, I will find it. Like, I don't stop until that happens, right? So we're in a good position. I think the timing is perfect, right? For those of you that are new to network marketing, direct sales, MLM, whatever you want to call it, for those of you that are new, all of this, sometimes it's a little bit weird, right? Because you're not used to it. In corporate, they don't announce presidents and vice presidents on these types of calls. This is not corporate, guys. Like, network marketing, direct sales, this industry is different, right? When I used to consult for companies, I would say, hey, this is not traditional business. And that's also the reason why we accomplish things that are not traditional, right? When I just first time I looked at an MLM comp plan, I'm like, why do they have a need to promote a $250,000 a month position per month? Like, that doesn't even sound real. Well, let me tell you what, it's real. We've all seen it. We've lived it. We've been here for a long time. It's real. And we will have some people making those types of numbers pretty soon, right? So if you're not from this industry, if you're more corporate or you're still in corporate, just get used to it, right? Network marketing is a world of its own. So just to reassure you, we're working on a lot of cool things. It's going to get fun. If you stuck around for the first year, you might as well stick around for year 2, because now it's about to get fun, right? A lot of the infrastructure is already done. So when I said, if we build it, they will come, you're about to see what that meant. The fruits of all that labor. So, all right, everybody. JC, if you have anything else, Mr. Sam, if you have anything else to add, that's all we got.
Let's build. That's what I have to add. Let's build, ladies and gentlemen. It's the beginning of the year. Let's go and push harder than ever before, because opportunities always look bigger going than they did coming. This opportunity, unfortunately, is going to slip through people's fingers. Before they know it, we paid $1 billion in commissions, and people were here in the beginning And they're going to realize they always look bigger once they're gone. Once you miss a boat, the opportunity looks bigger than when it was coming. You have the opportunity right now at a very special time in history to be a part of something major before it becomes major. There's a lot of things that have happened in the first, we're not even a year. We're not even a year in. Our pre-launch was February 17th. If anybody was noticing, that's when Mr. Sam Bean came for the first time. So he hasn't been here a year. Pre-launch was February 17th. That's when we got our back office, guys. So we haven't even had our back office. That's when we got our merchant account. This time last year, we didn't have a merchant account. Look how much has happened. Many millions of dollars in sales, and we are just getting started. So if I were you, I would make a decision. Remember that decision doesn't take time. Change doesn't take time. It takes a decision. You could decide that you're the person that is worthy and has a work ethic and the effort that it takes to be successful. Don't buy into the whole, change takes time. That's not true. It takes a decision. I recommend you make that decision here today. I'll give it to Mr. Beam.
Hey guys, first of all, Mr. Rangel, thank you for allowing us to actually have this. You were supposed to train tonight, and guys, come back here next week, same time, same line, same bat channel for phenomenal training that you guys are going to get by the President, El Presidente, JC Rangel. Tomorrow night, I'll be serving the platform for a presentation. And then Thursday night, we have our other featured speakers. Just make sure you start plugging in. And like you said, guys, let's go out here and make sure we say thank you, for giving us this opportunity by putting people in front of it. So appreciate you, Mr. Rangel. Thank you very much, Mr. Navarro. And we'll see you guys at the top. Y'all have a blessed one.
Yes.
Night.
Good night, everyone.
Recording stop.